Now, sis, once I saw that Nancy Pelosi had dusted off that good wig for that press conference, I knew there was about to be a big announcement.
Give me your wigs, you don't know what to do with it. Give me your wig, give me your wig, give me your wig.
Now, I'm not one for premature celebration, especially considering there's a whole process that has to happen before we can even think about getting this man out of office, but I had to put on my good pink. I had to put on my good pin because I'm happy. Says finally this man has come across at least some type of roadblock and we get to get that tired ass toupee into the spotlight. You hear what I'm saying? That termite infested toupee is sitting up there underneath the spotlight. I don't like living under your spotlight. He surely doesn't. That's why he has to do so many cover-ups. That's why he has to stack the courts and stuff. But we're gonna get on that just a little bit later because there's, like I said, there's so much to break down. But first, since we're over here talking about wigs, and specifically I was speaking about Nancy Pelosi, at least her wig, that wig was on point. That hair was, you know, it's giving me very much so your time is up type of tease. We had to stand on that one. But somebody's wig that did not give me any type of life, it actually took life away from me like it's the Grim Reaper, is Terrence Howard. I don't know what's going on. What is going on with this wig now? Empire, I think they're coming upon their last season. Some of y'all can correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't kept up with Empire since like maybe the second season. I don't know, girl. But they've been carrying this story on and on and on. It's giving me very much so low budget scandal type of tease. It was just, oh my God, I didn't even realize that that show was still going on, but apparently it is. And they got Lucius in this wig. That's it. I don't know what to tell you. Y'all need to go ahead and send a cease and desist. Y'all need to come up with some type of lawyers. Y'all need to go ahead and come draw up some papers to send to the costume and design, to send to the budget. First of all, y'all need to send it to the budget, whoever does the budgeting of the show, but also going over to costume and design and send them cease and desist, sue their asses, because there's no reason why you should be out here, Miss Lucius, in this wig that's giving me very much so Cabbage Patch Kids. It's giving me very much so kitty yarn type of tease. It was not. I was not featuring that shit. Something else I'm not featuring, Kaya, and we already had the discussion about Kaya. She has given us, and she's always given us, all types of transphobic, homophobic type of tease. Now that was even when she was sitting on the Queen's Court, and people were just like, oh well, she's funny, she's funny. It's just like, okay, just because she may get off a few jokes here and there doesn't mean that y'all just excuse the other bullshit that she has been saying. So that has been going on. Honestly, a lot of black gays has just been standing around acting like, oh well, there's nothing wrong. She's just roasting and gagging, and now recently I think she was roasting Bobby Lice because Bobby Lice came at her first, or so. I don't know what was going on with that, but all I know is that Kaya was up there talking about all types of sissies and faggots and all types of, oh well, you need to go get your sick ass checked, HIV and all this. And I think there was another part where she was coming at Trina's mom or some funeral stuff. It was a lot. But what I'm saying is, honestly, I don't expect much from Kaya because someone who does not have anything to lose. So that's why it's easy for her to talk recklessly. The only thing that she has to lose are other people's eyeballs anytime that she launches a smile their way, okay? Because them teeth are giving us all types of earthquake type of tease, the way that they're so unstable, okay? It's giving me all types of Grand Canyon type of tease. If she does have a dentist, that person is lying directly to her face time and time again. Her teeth are giving me unsolvable jigsaw puzzles. It's giving me all types of ineffective chainsaw type of tease, all right? So it's like, I don't expect much from Kaya, but it's just like, a lot of the black gays have been gassing her ass, oh, she's funny, girl. We just ignore the bullshit that she said. She's funny. So of course she stands on top of that. Y'all gas her up, she gets more eyes on her shit. So no matter what the detrimental, hurtful shit that she says, y'all keep smiling in her face, laughing at her jokes. Now that she's dragging Bobby Lice like this, all of a sudden people are just, oh my gosh, what did you expect? This is what I've been saying about Kaya. Easiest way to solve the problem is to just get her ass out of here. So let's talk about the moment that has stolen headlines across the worldwide goddamn web. Miss Nancy Pelosi strutted her kidney heels wearing ass out to this press conference and said, hey sis, we are out here, we're getting ready to initiate an impeachment inquiry into whatever the hell Donald Trump ass is doing. Now, so she obviously is the one who decides on if they're going to hold floor vote on impeachment at the end of the goddamn day. And people have been urging Nancy like, girl, look, Like, we need to do something about this damn president, even though we don't have the Senate, and the Senate is a very important part in the whole impeachment process. Even though we don't have the Senate, we need to at least take a stand as a Democratic Party and say, hey, look, this is not acceptable, this is unacceptable. Now, there are a lot of people, I've been watching a whole lot of news, reading a lot of articles. There are people just like Democrats and Nancy thought that, you know, this whole Robert Mueller situation was just such a huge, complex issue. It's hard for the American public to digest. And now that this other issue has come up, which I will be talking about in a minute, now that this other issue has come up, it's more easy to understand. It's a little bit more direct, and that's something that they can stand on when it comes to impeachment and possibly crafting articles of impeachment. Now, and even now, even though this issue is more direct, it still involves a number of factors. It's a little bit complex as well. So I'll just try and give a pretty decent breakdown of what's going on. So there was this whistleblower report that came out, and I talked about it in previous videos. If you go check it out if that's something that you're interested in. Now, we all know whistleblower means that there's something illegal going on, and I need to be anonymous, but I need this to be reported. And so it involved the White House president, and the director of national intelligence was supposed to send that directly to Congress in no later than 7 days. And of course that didn't happen, and there were arguing semantics like, oh, this information is protected because it's executive privilege or whatever. But they were like, that's not the law. It said that the DNI, it shall be passed to Congress. So that report, I think that's going to be the director of national intelligence is supposed to come before the House on Thursday to discuss that. But there was also something else happening. So first, Trump had apparently blocked $400 million of aid, like military aid, from coming into the Ukraine. Now, the Ukraine is fighting directly against Russia, and there were people, even while that was going on, the orders for that, the $400 million to be halted was going on. People just like, they didn't understand why. Within the government, they didn't understand why this was even going on in the first place. So then, after that order was placed, Trump apparently made a call to the Ukraine. This is the first time that he's ever spoken to the new president of Ukraine. It was a conversation that apparently, you know, he was requesting that Ukraine look into Joe Biden, who he saw as his potential political rival in the upcoming election. So after that news came out, everybody's like, what the fuck? People were like, release the transcript of the call. That's what they were asking for. And then so the House and Senate approved this resolution for that transcript to be released. Now the Senate approved that unanimously, and the Senate is controlled by the Republicans. So I thought that was really interesting. I was like, what is going on here? They ain't gonna try to fight it, but whatever. So we get this transcript. Now we have to keep in mind, this is the disclaimer that they put on at the bottom of this transcript, basically saying, you know what, this transcript is not verbatim. It's not a verbatim record of what actually happened. So, you know, we don't, in my opinion, I don't really trust too much a lot of what the White House is going to be putting out as what they consider a transcript. Honestly, the real name for it is a memo of what happened. So even this is what the White House wants us to see, and even that is really damning to President Trump. So part of what was apparently said, the president of Ukraine said, we are ready to continue to cooperate for the next steps. Specifically, we are almost ready to buy more Javelins from the United States for defense purposes. And then Trump said, apparently, I would like you to do us a favor though. I would like you to find out what happened with this whole situation with Ukraine. They say CrowdStrike. That, I think that involves hacking with the DNC. He brings up the Attorney General, that's William Barr. And then he also asked them to look into Joe Biden and Joe Biden's son off of unsubstantiated allegations that have no basis in goddamn reality. So all of this, when you mix all of this up together, this president has apparently held $400 million worth of military aid before he got on the phone, and the president of Ukraine is obviously, you can read the whole 5 pages of just him basically kissing Trump's ass, saying, hey sis, I need these javelins and all this shit. Military aid's already being held before he made the call. Then you made the call and said, I need a favor though. I need you to look into this, whatever the fuck he's talking about with these servers and shit. And then I also need you to look into Joe Biden, and I need you to investigate his son and all this. So as news of all of that came out, Nancy was just like, the Democrats are like, all right, This is very much 1 + 1 = 2. Like we can launch something off of this because it's more of a soundbite than the whole Robert Mueller thing. You can really lay it out much easier than the other ordeal. So now what Trump is going to try and argue is that, oh, you know, the reason I didn't send the $400 million in of aid to the Ukraine is because I want to wait and make sure that the rest of the European countries are pouring into the Ukraine. They're also going to try and argue that, you know, there was no explicit, if you do this for me, I do that for you kind of exchange or sentence in this memo or in the transcript, so it legally does not hold up. But it's just like, girl, you're gonna have to do a little bit better. And of course, it is illegal for officials like the president of the goddamn United States to petition or to pressure any other country for help with an election or information on another candidate that will help him in an election. It's just completely unacceptable. So now what has to happen with this whole impeachment process? We have this I think it's like six committees in the House they're going to continue under this umbrella of impeachment inquiry, like Nancy Pelosi said. So it's 6 of these committees. They're going to send some of their strongest cases to the House Judiciary Committee, and that's the committee that comes up with the articles of impeachment. They have a vote, and if they get a simple majority, the president gets impeached, and then they pass it over to the Senate. Now, that's when the trial happens, and the Senate acts as jury. The Senate has to have a 2/3 vote to get this president out of here, and then that's when it will happen. The only problem is that the Republicans control the Senate right now, so it will be really difficult, from what I'm seeing, to get him out of office, to remove him out of office that way. This has come from ABC. No president has ever been impeached and subsequently removed from office. 2 presidents, Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton, have been impeached, and both were acquitted by the Senate. So like I said, you know, once the House organized everything and sent it over to the Senate, because the Senate is controlled by Republicans, it's a chance, a very high chance, that he could be acquitted in the Senate, just like those 2 presidents were. Now, Mr. Nixon, he said, fuck this shit, and just resigned before the Senate even had to say in it. But while all of this is, you know, we're excited, we're jumping up for joy, and oh my God, impeachment, because that word has such a very heavy connotation. A lot of us are getting excited, like, but there's a process there, and at the end of it remains the Republican-controlled Senate who will put his ass on trial. So it's just, I think it was necessary. I think that this is one of the strongest cases, at least that we know of, that they could use to launch his ass into impeachment. But we must remember that at the end of the day, the Senate is still controlled by people who are kissing his ass even now. And I say that because I thought this was interesting. I'll end on this. Trump had called in the Republican lawmakers to review their talking points. They created them, and then apparently accidentally sent the talking points to the House Democrats, and then after that said, oh, we need to recall that email that we just sent to you. Recall it, pull it back. And it's just like, sis, in my opinion, I just don't think that someone could accidentally send all them talking points to the House Democrats if they did not want to send a message. Just disseminating the talking point. And it's just like, you're gonna be saying your talking points in public, so it's not like something that you have to hide. But I think that was just done on purpose. Like, oh, they accidentally. I think that's all a part of their fucking strategy. So what's supposed to happen on Thursday? The acting director of national intelligence, Joseph McGuire, is supposed to testify in public before the House Intelligence Committee. So that's in public before the Democrats. And then he's going to testify in private in front of the Republicans, the Senate Intelligence Committee. And all of this could be an apparent game changer. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen after this. What I need to happen is the actual report, the actual whistleblower report be made public. But even that would not do enough. Because if this whistleblower just heard the fact that this president was having a conversation that was inappropriate, it may not be enough evidence. Even that may not be enough evidence. So they need to talk to his inner circle and get they need to be able to have access to some tools of the court. And maybe that's why Nancy Pelosi did this whole impeachment inquiry. They need to have a whole lot of access to legislative tools or whatever to be able to pull evidence directly from his inner court. So yeah, that's a general overview of what's going on. Hopefully it wasn't too general. There's more information coming out every hour since this news broke. So I will keep you updated, and on Friday you can expect another video. I also hope that if Trump goes down, that they take all his, I'm talking about Pence, all these motherfuckers, Barr needs his ass, he needs to recuse himself and he needs to be impeached. To get his ass out of here. Take all of their Shrek looking asses out of here so that we can have a good goddamn evening.